Hi, it's Randy Burke here again, CEO of DCS Global, talking about renegotiating and terminating contracts. You may sound that may sound funny, are you sticking with your existing contractor or terminating? And a couple things. A lot of the similarities of what you have to do in both cases imply, but also you're also going to have, in fact, a new contract either way. So let's just run through some of the ideas here. And yeah, month by month contracts are not good for anybody. You get limited commitment on the service provider. You probably have insurance issues if something happens. Contractors can walk, staff too, actually. So timing is important. So look at what's really happening and are the service levels, where are they? You know, is that are you getting the quality? Have you had the record of good response times? All of those things. So, are the service levels there? Of course, is the first question between renegotiating or terminating. And then relationships in this industry are important for many reasons. A lot of the items that are actually happening in cleaning are not really written down part of the contract. I've covered this in a previous session. Things like project work. Sometimes there's services that are carried over in and around tenants that again are goodwill related. And the bottom line is, is the individual that you generally deal with, maybe one or two, are they still there? And so do you have to rebuild a new relationship? And what's the story on that? So that's important. And then looking at, again, is the commitments that is being made to you as a property manager or your building or your tenants, are those commitments defined? Are they being fulfilled? And how are they going to carry forward into a new contract relationship? Certainly under a renegotiation, it's easier. But under a termination, I think this is where you need to get a lot of detailed information. What's going on in the tenant extras? What's the history related to the staffing if there's survivorship legislation? So in British Columbia, there's no Bill 7 or there's no requirement for the incumbent contractor to pass that on. So it really is incumbent on the property manager or the third-party consultant to do that. So there's a lot of detail and commitments here that you really have to look at before you figure out your timing and which way you're going to go. And of course, cost is critical, and costs are going up all the time. So you'll need to look around the corner in the future and see exactly that. What do the increases look like, both from your service provider, asking them, the existing one, or potentially some you may be going to market. So what does that look like? And there's information that can be gleaned about union increases, minimum wage, supplies, all of that. And then finally, you get down to a notice period. So no matter what, you're going to have to give typically 30 days notice for your existing contract, unless there's a material breach of services, which happens. And then most contracts allow for immediate termination, but tricky stuff. You need somebody, another service provider ready to go who's understanding the building and has given you a price and all those important details. So, and there's no hard notice, 30 days, and there's soft notice. You certainly, if you're renegotiating, you are looking to give, start in a renegotiation period well before 30 days. And of course, your service provider would be very compliant and such. Very different if you're actually terminating. Terminating, you typically only do give 30 days notice, because what happens is if a contractor, a service provider has been terminated, clearly they're going to not invest or pay attention. Lots don't, some may, um, on the service levels and replacing staff. In fact, some unscrupulous service providers actually take staff out so they make more money. Leave the building in a great, in good shape. I've had one story where a contractor was terminated on the day of transition. Literally, all the key tags were separated from the keys. There was a box of just keys that was left on the cleaning desk, and it was pandemonium for the new contractor to try and service the building when they couldn't identify the key to which building. Things happen. So depending on the goodwill that's there, or lack of goodwill, you may want to shorten the notice period as much as you can. So there's a lot of considerations there. And yeah, I'm kind of related to some of the details and due diligence either way, again, renegotiating or terminating. You need to understand where your current vendor is in terms of not just what they're doing for you and your building, but their management, supervision, potentially how they're doing to other buildings in the marketplace. All contractors and service providers naturally want to put the best face forward, that this is going fine, but you need to get yourself understanding all the things that I just mentioned, particularly going forward, and then understand your needs. What are your building changes? What's happening in your programs, be it environmental, waste, occupancy, all of those things, and look forward. Consider subcontracting as part of your contract, maybe, or maybe even if it's small, all of it. So I have dealt with this earlier on some of the pros and cons of that. Be aware of union agreements. They are hard and fast generally once they're signed, and wage and benefit costs need to be passed on. And technology is continuing to increase. So, what do you have in your building now that is reliant on technology, be it timekeeping systems, robotics, quality control, and there's some newer ones that are coming out which are quite powerful in terms of understanding. They're essentially tenant feedback mechanisms, whether they're happy with the cleaning in the washroom, but much more detail is actually provided by the unit in the restrooms. It's quite interesting. They will be out. I already spoke about notice periods, but again, do your due diligence on this and figure out what works. And yeah, subject matter experts like us or others that were out there, so find them, use them. I think you're going to find it's going to pay well. And it's always a balancing act. So, it's a small community, both in the property management, the contracting world. So try and make a good news story out of this for all, if you can. Certainly a renegotiation is easy. And so, what is the new contract bringing to your building? And so define that, share it, make sure it's factual, but certainly you can get some good mileage, be it ESG, compliance, things like that. And I mean, tenants, building users are the key. So, before any transition, check with those key stakeholders. How's it going? Is there any special needs you might need going forward? What's around the corner for them? Have they been having issues? Is there certain staff they love and they don't want to see leave? All of these things. So you build this up and you put some communication out. Almost always, work with the key tenant reps first. Get your messaging down, get them, and then it's nice to actually share some information on the positive effects of a new contract to the building population. And there's ways they can do that. And so I'll leave that to you. And yeah, I mean, we're in a people industry. So Are staff staying, particularly day staff? Are they leaving? And what does it look like from an HR point of view for the actual cleaning crew? There may be some hidden issues there, staff not paid. They're all going to walk. You may not know that, but it happens. And so they may tell you as the building manager, but they wouldn't tell the outgoing contractor. Again, there's some real investigative work here. And then there's, of course, the vendors. There's people that supply the paper, you name it, chemicals and equipment maintenance and things. Have they been paid? So this is, again, a lot of research here to make sure that you balance all the different risks that are there. So that's kind of the overview, and yeah, here's where we're next in our series, moving ahead to managing quality and communications. And here's our link, and so please enjoy, view it, and thank you very much. And as I always say, we're happy to provide any advice we can give you. Touch base with us, and we can make your life a little easier on the cleaning side. Thanks very much.